Welcome, yogis. Thank you so much for being here for your Friday Yin practice today. We're going to start it on a seated position. So if you like to sit on your blanket or blocks, I'm going to choose to sit on one block here. If you have a block, you can go ahead and sit on. So I'm going to fold my legs back and sit on my block. But if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, please feel free to sit however you like to be comfortable. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit on a chair, you can sit on a cushion. However you can sit tall, please find that position. Your hands can rest comfortably on top of your thighs. And then just have your gaze just be in front of you, maybe 3 or 4 feet in front of you. So really soft gaze. And allow your gaze to be panoramic. What do I mean by that is, instead of just really honing into an object in front of you or seeing something, which could be sometimes very meditative, I'd like you to see if you can have a wide vision. So without really moving your eyes or moving your head side to side, you can definitely see the peripheral vision, and it's an expanded awareness, but at the same time your gaze is just right in front of you. And the eyes are soft, the gaze is soft. So make sure that the forehead is smooth. Begin to notice all these sensations. So one way of coming into the present moment is through our sensory system. Feeling the touch of the air on the skin, listening to the soundscape, listening to my voice or any other sounds that can be around you. Maybe even tasting your saliva or tasting whatever you may be sensing in your mouth. If there's any aromas around you. So really becoming fully aware of all the senses. And for the most part, we either develop a like or a dislike towards something, but maybe just noticing them as they are without labeling it. So maybe the sound of traffic is not necessarily your liked sound, but just noticing it and allowing it to be there without pushing it away or getting attached to it. And then as you begin to become aware of all the senses, notice the feeling in your body, right? So one of these senses are what's going on in our mind, so the language of the mind, thinking. And then what's going on in the heart, the language of the heart, feeling. Just notice the two. Again, really not, anything is not bad or good. Can we just become aware without pushing anything away or rejecting anything or grasping? So we'll do a full yin practice today from head to toe. And as you do the practice, I'm going to invite you over and over to pay attention to the sensory system. As you're ready, just come forward to your tabletop, please. So if you need to, you can put your block or any type of structure you have to the side. Come on hands and knees. Let's move the spine nice and slowly. So as you begin to inhale, lift the chest up and then allow the head to come up. You can lift the tailbone up. As you exhale, bring your chin to your chest and slowly begin to, like a wave-like motion, start from the thoracic spine, then go to mid-spine, then all the way down to the lumbar spine, and your tail gets tucked under. And then when you inhale, begin to send the tailbone up, moving like a wave, like to your lumbar spine, to your mid-spine, to your thoracic spine lifts first, then your head can lift, your cervical spine. And again, try this, really go slowly. Bring the chin to your chest first, and then allow that wave-like motion in the spine all the way down to your tailbone. Feel the vertebrae, each vertebrae moving. Inhale, send the tail up first. Arch the back slightly. Move the spine, coming up to your thoracic spine, lift the chest, and then lift the head. And let's do this again. Bring the chin to your chest first, and then the upper back, the mid back, the low back, tail, tuck the tail, and then send the tail up first. Arch the back slightly, lift the chest up then, and then the head lifts, inhale. Good. And then coming back to the center, please. Begin to sit back on your heels once again. Keep your hands exactly where they are. Lift the chest up, inhale. And exhale, walk your hands all the way back to your knees. And then we're going to come into a comfortable seat. So cross your ankles. You can sit on a block if you want to, or sit on a blanket. Take a block with you and put it right next to your body. Take your right hand on your block. Inhale, reach the left arm up. As you exhale, you're going to fold over to the right. And then pause here for a moment. Notice that left shoulder. Can you let the left shoulder soften? Notice the left hip. Notice if it's lifting off the ground. Can you let that left hip soften towards the earth? And we're going to stay here for about a minute. Not a long time, but we want to really allow that left hip to stay down on the floor. And then think about rolling the chest open towards the sky so that the left elbow now is lifted up towards the ceiling. A little bit of a side stretch on that left side. If it feels good, you can bring that right elbow down, but make sure that left hip didn't come up. And then breathe into the left side, breathe into that left lung. You're getting a nice stretch in the intercostal muscles between the ribs. And you're contracting the right side as well. So just notice the difference, the contraction between the right side and the expansion on the left side. One more deep breath in. Your gaze is soft. You're just looking straight down right in front of your mat. Make sure that left shoulder is staying soft. You're going to start feeling like tingling on the left fingertips. It's okay. You can move the left fingertips if you need to. One more deep breath in. And then nice and slowly come on up. Uncross your ankles and cross the other ankle in front. Take the block to the left side now. Your left hand comes on top of the block. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Take the hand behind your head and then fold towards the left side. And go nice and slowly. So just let your body experience the fold all the way from the top as you're sitting tall to slowly stretching out. So notice that right hip wants to come up. Let the right hip stay down. And then notice this side might be completely different from the other side. So be okay with that. Is the right shoulder coming up to the ears? Can you let the right shoulder down? Let the hand rest on top of your head. Again, gazes to the front. Breathe open to that right lung. Now the side that was contracted just a minute ago, where the liver resides, is being stretched. So you're creating a lot of space for the internal organ, one of the most important internal organs in our body, the liver. Helps with the detox, helps clean out all the stuff that our body doesn't need. Breathe into that right side. Feel the intercostal muscles between each rib stretching out. And see if you can rotate your chest up a little bit more, just so that this stays as a side bend, not a forward fold. deep inhalation. And as you exhale, see if you can let that right hip soften a little bit more towards the floor. And then nice and slowly begin to come on up. So take your time. Notice the transition. These transitions are part of the pose. Relax the right arm down. And then we're going to do a twist. So uncross your ankles and cross the other ankle in front. Again, take your block to the right side. Take your left hand to your right knee. Inhale, lift the chest up, and exhale, a gentle twist over to the right. So go only as far as it feels good. And as you come here, notice if that left shoulder is reaching and trying to grasp. Let that left shoulder stay back. Think about your sternum, your chest twisting towards the right more than the arm or the shoulder. We're just staying here for 1 minute. Your right hand can rest on top of your block, or if you want to, you can slowly begin to walk that hand a little bit farther back behind you. Maybe some of you would like to bring the right fingertips on top of your left thigh. But really keep it passive. So there's not any reaching or grasping or squeezing or struggling. Keep the chin to your chest so that the crown of your head is reaching up towards the ceiling. And this twist, as you notice, is happening in your upper back, in your thoracic spine. So we're trying to keep it as much as possible to the upper back twist. One more deep breath in. Let the gaze be soft. Exhale it out. And then nice and slowly, super slow, begin to untwist. Take your block to the left, uncross your ankles, cross the other ankle in front, right hand on top of the left knee. Inhale, lift the chest first, and then exhale and begin to twist to the left. And check in with all the alignments that we talked about earlier. So the shoulders are the first ones that move up. Let the shoulders come down. Think about your sternum turning towards that left knee instead of the arms reaching. Think about the crown of your head lifting instead of the chin lifting. So drop the chin slightly, let the back of your neck get long. And as you stay here for a minute, maybe you like to twist a little bit deeper. Maybe that left hand can go behind you. Maybe you like to take the left hand to your right thigh. And then just breathe into your upper back, that space behind the heart, in between the shoulder blades. One more deep breath here. Exhale. And then slowly unwind. Please come to the front. Come to tabletop pose again. So put everything to the side. Hands and knees. One cat-cow, just like you did earlier. So be really mindful in this cat-cow. Inhale, lift the chest up, and then send the tail up, and then send the head up if you like to. Exhale, bring the chin to your chest, round the upper back, round the mid back, round the low back, tuck the tail. And then go ahead and have a seat, and we'll move on to the second pose. So extend, or actually I should say the third pose. So extend the right leg forward and then bend the left knee, bring that left foot on the inside of the right thigh. You're gonna use a block or a bolster or a bunch of blankets or pillows if you've got. And then that, whatever you have, so I'll show with the block first and then the bolster. The block is gonna come on top of your shin. Inhale, lift the chest, and then you're just gonna fold towards your right knee. So my forehead is gonna come and rest on top of my block, or you can do the same thing with a bolster. So the bolster is gonna be on top of your right thigh, and you're gonna bring the elbows on top of the bolster and drop the head down. Either one of those, or you can pile up a bunch of blankets. Also, if the bolster is too far, you can always put your block under your bolster, so the block is on top of the shin, and you're just gonna rest your forehead on top of the block or bolster. So whatever works best for you, let's go ahead and start. We're gonna stay here for 2 minutes, so a little bit longer pose, longer held. And then as you rest your forehead either on your block or bolster or hands, begin to breathe deep into the left low back, the QL muscle on the left side. So because these are yin poses, I'm going to ask you to really soften the legs. Usually I have you flex the foot, energize the leg, but on these I'm just going to ask you to really just let that bottom leg, the right leg, let it relax as much as you can. There is no holding, there is no contracting, there is no contraction, there is no squeezing, nothing. And then again, from the top of your head to your legs, check in with all the major areas, the jaws, the forehead, the back of the neck, the shoulders. Come all the way down to your hip, your legs, even the toes. Make sure your toes aren't crunching or squishing or grasping anything. And then as you take a nice deep breath in, maybe you can visualize your breath entering your nostrils and all the way down your back to your tailbone. So visualize and feel and sense your breath traveling through the nose all the way down through the back of the neck, the back of the heart, the back of the mid-back, all the way down to the tailbone, as if you can paint your breath all the way down in one brush stroke. And then as you exhale, feel a sense of softening in the hips. Letting that left hip especially soften. And play with that visualization however you like to. Sometimes it helps to visualize a paintbrush brushing down any of your favorite colors all the way down to your tailbone. Sometimes it helps to have a warm oil sensation down to the tailbone. One more deep breath in, please. And then gently with your exhalation, begin to lift the chest up. Sit tall for just a minute. Extend that left leg forward. And then put your feet flat on the floor. Inhale, lift the hips up into your reverse tabletop pose. Just pause here for a moment. You can drop the head down if it feels good on your neck. You can kind of sway side to side like you're in a hammock. You can move forward and back. But really the intention is to lift the hips up into this reverse tabletop. And then lower the hips down. We're going to switch to the other side. So extend the left leg forward. Bend the right knee, drop it out to the right. And then your options again are either arms on top of the block, forehead on top of the block on your shin, or you can use the bolster or pillows or blankets on top of that left leg, bring the forehead down, or you can use a combination of the two, putting the bolster or blankets on top of your block. So wherever you like to go, let's go ahead and start holding for 2 minutes. Let your head be resting on something, either it's on the block or bolster. Then begin to take a nice deep breath in. Feel it and sense it all the way down to your tailbone. Softening that right knee down towards the floor. Softening the right hip. Allowing the hip to melt, to sink down towards your mat. Open and close your jaws to make sure you're not tensing the jaws in any way. That left leg doesn't need to be contracted or doesn't need to be engaged in any way. Let the left leg be really soft. Just stay connected to your breath. And then as you're ready, take a nice deep inhale. And slowly begin to lift your torso back up again. Put the block or bolster to the side. One more time, reverse tabletop. Press your feet down. Your fingertips can either point towards your hips or away from each other. Lift the hips up. And as you pause here, you can kind of sway side to side like a hammock, front and back. Lift it up, whatever feels good on your hips and your back. You can drop the head down back if that feels good on your neck. Shake the head side to side, and then gently and slowly come all the way down. Bring the soles of your feet together. Grab your ankles, lift the chest, inhale. Now this time I'm going to ask you to keep your spine long, and then exhale, slowly begin to come forward towards your toes. Thinking about your belly button coming towards your heels instead of your forehead to your toes. One more time, inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, belly button towards your heels. And again, lift the chest, inhale, and exhale, belly button towards the chest and towards the heels. And then slowly come on up. So for the next pose, I'm going to give you two different options. You're either going to come into what's called the Agni Stambhasana, which is logs of fire. So your left shin is going to be to the parallel with the top of your mat. You're going to bring the right shin all the way on top of your left shin. This is really good for the hips. You're going to flex both feet here for just a moment. If there's a lot of space between that right knee and the left inner foot, you can put a block or pile up a bunch of blankets and put them under in between that space. And so this is one option, Agni Stambhasana, or you can just cross your ankles. So this is the easier, more accessible option. Either one does the trick. You pick whatever works best for you. If you're in Agni Stambhasana, you can sit tall and just rest your hands on top of your knees. Or maybe you like to come forward just a little bit, maybe resting your forearms on top of your shin. Or if you really feel open today, you can put a block in front of you and rest your elbows on top of the block. So these are all phases that you can go through. Same thing with if you're sitting cross-legged, you can just sit cross-legged, great. That gets a stretch in the hips. Or maybe you can come forward a little bit, but let the hips stay down. Maybe your elbows can come down a little bit. So go only as far as you start feeling the tension in the hips, and you just stay there. And again, this is not going to be a long hold, but we're going to stay here for 1 minute. So starting now, wherever you are, check in again with all those crucial areas of our bodies. Crucial in terms of like where unnecessary tension creeps up. Jaws, shoulders, low back. And then also wherever you are, just make sure that your knees, you're not feeling any sort of sharp pain in the knees. So we kind of tolerate uncomfort or discomfort. It's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable, but we don't want to tolerate any sharp pains. If you're feeling any pain, please come out of the pose and go and just either sit cross-legged, sit up. You know, just being really aware of what's going on in the body really helps us prevent possible injury. So we've been here for about 30 seconds. If you like to, you can just go down a little bit farther. Maybe you can bring the elbows down to the floor, drop the head down. Deep stretch for the hips. And with this one, I invite you to kind of play with your breath, sending your breath to that space where you're feeling most tension, and kind of feel like it's a massage therapist, just massaging that area, opening space. Take a nice deep breath here. Exhale it out. With the next inhalation, gently begin to press yourself up. Put both feet flat on the floor. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. Drop your knees over to the left. If you like to, you can also stay on the right side and just kind of massage that right hip. That sometimes feels good. Or you can even take your knuckles to that right hip and just kind of rub in that area. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to just switch to the other side. So either Agni Stambhasana, left shin on top of the right shin, or just crossing the left ankle in front. Your choices with your torso are either sitting up, or you can bring your hands to your shin, or elbows to the shin, or elbows on top of the block, or just elbows on the floor. So go wherever it feels good on your body. I'm going to start with elbows on top of the block first, and then slowly go down. So 1 minute. Again, have your gaze be just in front of you, soft eyes, not really honing on anything, not really picking on anything or focusing on anything, but letting the gaze be wide and open and receptive. Usually when we go into a pose, the muscles have a tendency to initially resist. So see if you can notice that, and instead just let that muscle, tell that muscle to relax. It's in a safe environment. If you like to, you can go a little bit deeper. Maybe you can come down on your elbows. We're more than halfway there. One more deep breath in. Exhale. And then gently press yourself all the way back up, please. Put your feet flat on the floor. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. If you like to, you can stay on that left side and just kind of massage it. Or you can just take your knuckles to your left hip and massage that piriformis deep in there. And then whenever you're ready, we're gonna come on up. So let's go ahead and come to tabletop again, please. One cat-cow, just like we did at the beginning of the class. Begin with sending your tailbone up, arch your back slightly, lift the chest up, and then the head comes up. And then bring the chin to your chest, wave-like motion of the spine all the way down to your tailbone. And then come back to neutral, please. Walk your hands to the top of your mat. And for this one, so initially we're gonna come into puppy pose, which means that I'm taking my knees a little bit farther away from my hands, and then I'm going to bring my forehead down towards the floor. So this is a beautiful stretch for the upper back and arms and shoulders and the armpits. As you notice, my hips are lifted, so it's not a child pose, excuse me. It's not a child's pose. My hips are lifted, and my knees are 90 degrees, and my elbows are lifted off the ground, and I'm pressing my hands down, and I feel just an awesome stretch in my upper back. And I'm allowing my forehead to rest on the floor, and I'm allowing my chest to melt down towards the floor. And I breathe into my upper back and shoulders and neck area. And exhale, let my chest melt down a little bit more towards the floor. You can stay here. This is a great place to stay. Or if you like to stretch out the triceps and the arms, bring the elbows down to the floor, bring your hands into prayer pose. And then bend your elbows back as you bring your thumbs to the back of your head. And that gets a little bit deeper into triceps and upper arm stretch. If you want a little bit more, if you go here and you feel like, oh, I don't really feel a whole lot of stretch, you can always put 2 blocks down on your mat and rest your elbows on top of your blocks as you bring your hands behind your head. Either in a prayer pose, or you can even put your palms on your shoulders. So cross your wrist and put one palm on your left shoulder and the other palm on the right shoulder. Whatever works best for you. If you have your hands in prayer pose, it's a deeper stretch. One more deep breath in. You may also feel a stretch in the front side body, the armpits, the chest. And then nice and easy, come all the way back up. So bringing the knees up, and then you're gonna bring the belly down in your Sphinx pose. So bring your elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and your forearms are parallel to each other, so the forearms are on train tracks. And then you're just going to lift the chest up. But on here, I'm going to ask you to wiggle your hips a little bit to make sure that your hips are soft. You're not squeezing your buttocks or anything. You're just lifting the hips up, chest up, stretching out the front side body. We're not staying here that long. I just want you to feel that stretch in the front side body, and then press your hands down, maybe come up a little bit higher into seal pose, lifting the chest up, let the shoulders be soft, stretching out the front side of your spine. Inhale and exhale, and lower the elbows down. Gently begin to press yourself all the way back into tabletop pose. One cat-cow, again, just like we did. Tailbone up, arch your back, chest up, lift the head up, and then bring the chin down, upper back, mid back, low back, tuck the tail. And then coming back into neutral, and we're gonna have a seat on our heels. The last one is, I'll give you several options. It's going to be like a Supta Konasana, the supine butterfly pose. You can use blocks, you can use a bolster, you can use pillows or blankets. For blocks, one block goes on the top of your mat, the highest point. The other block goes like a T shape at the bottom of it. So this block, the lower block, is going to go on your thoracic spine in between the shoulder blades. And this, the top one, is going to be as a pillow under your head. Okay? And then you can come down, sit next to, in front of one of the lower block, come all the way down, bring the soles of your feet together. This is Supta Konasana. If this might be a little bit too edgy for you, you can put a blanket on top of it, or my favorite way is to do it with a bolster. So the top block stays where it is. You guys rest your bolster on top of the top block, and you're going to come into Supta Konasana, very restorative. Palms are open towards the ceiling, soles of your feet together. If this doesn't feel good, you can always just extend the legs out. Whatever works for you. We're going to stay here for 1 minute. Close your eyes. Breathe into the upper chest. Exhale it out. Let the belly be soft. Let the knees be wide open if your soles of your feet are touching. Anytime you need a little restoration, a little restorative pose, this is a wonderful pose to get to. Especially if you've had a long week or a long day, just find that support beneath you. You can stay here if you like to, feel free. We just have one twist to go, and then we're doing our Shavasana. So if you love this pose and you just want to stay here for the rest of the class, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can gently come on up and nice and slowly, and bring your bolster or block with you. We're going to do a restorative twist. So putting your feet flat on the floor, bending your knees, drop your knees over to one side. Take your block or bolster and put it in between the knees, and then open your arms out to the side. And just breathe into your left side. Breathe into your belly. If you like to, you can extend the arms above your head for a little more stretch. But at this point, don't feel like you want to get a stretch. You just want to be able to relax. One more deep breath in, exhale. And then just do that same twist to the other side. So bring the knees up, drop your knees over to the left. Put the block or bolster in between the knees. Stretch out the arms either out to the side like goalpost, or you can extend the arms above your head and just relax the shoulders down. Gently come back to the center, and we're going to set up for our final pose, Shavasana. So if you have a blanket, please make a big roll of it, put it under your knees, or you can also take your bolster and put it under your knees. just to support your knees, and come all the way down to your final pose, Shavasana. Let the arms rest comfortably next to you. Let the back of your head rest comfortably on the floor. Wiggle your toes and fingertips. Open and close your jaws to make sure you're not holding on any tension. You can rotate the wrist and rotate the ankles. And then once you're ready and feel like you want to stay here for a minute, just come into your final pose. Rest here in your corpse pose, Shavasana. Let your breath be completely natural. Let your eyes sink into the sockets. Let your tongue be heavy, your jaws melting towards your mat. Feel the ground coming up and supporting you. Feel the backs of your hands resting comfortably on the floor. And if you have more time and would like to stay here, please feel free to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can. This is a beautiful, beautiful way to restore. If you're ready to continue on with the rest of your day, please gently begin to draw one knee to your chest and then the other knee to your chest. Gently notice which nostril you're breathing out of a little bit easier. Roll over to that side and pause for a moment. And with the strength in your top arm, press yourself to a comfortable seat, please. Bringing your hands to the heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your yin practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel restored, rejuvenated, and refreshed. Have a beautiful weekend. Namaste.